Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Alex and Trev back again from Alex's Vlogs. Last time we talked to you guys was about a year ago, and we went through a process of how to become a police officer in the state of Massachusetts. We did a part 1 and part 2. Part 1, we kind of went through the paperwork side of it, and then part 2, we went a little bit more in depth and answered some questions from the comments. So today, I'm going to let Trev run the interview, and we got a lot of information for you guys.
So let's get right to it. Alex, obviously been going through this process for about a year. He finally has got his opportunity to become a police officer here in Massachusetts. So let's go through your interview process, your background and captain's board. Any pros, cons you want to give them that they can take for interviews and filling out applications?
So for me, I think it's a little bit different because I have been through a few different department interviews, so I kind of got the gist of what kind of questions were going to be asked, and especially in my background of what in my history they want to ask. So I'm able to prepare answers. And if you have anything in your background that you think they might ask you on, they're probably going to ask you on it, and then just be prepared to give a logical explanation. And if you have some negative things in your background, be prepared to apologize, and then take ownership of your faults in your life. Doesn't matter how big or how small or when it was in your life.
So you're saying for them not to disclose anything, or to
disclose everything, everything. Don't lie. Just be truthful. They're gonna find out regardless. Anything that they can find, they will.
If they ask you about it, they already know the answer. So I mean, they want to see how you react to it.
Exactly. But as far as preparation, know the department. If you can get information on it, I would say 100% do that, especially for your captain's board. Some departments, like we talked about in the last video or the first video, they do a combination of a background and a captain's board in the same interview. The department that I just got hired on, they do it separate. So they did a background interview first. They slammed me on that for a while. I think my interview was 2 hours long. Mm-hmm. It was a while. And then they're going to ask you stuff, and then they're just going to keep hammering it to see if you change your answer. And then in the captain's board, I personally think, I'm not going to say it was easier, but to me it was a lot less stressful than the background interview. Because the background interview, you need to pass it to get on to the next step. So a lot of your marbles you're putting into that hat to make sure you get through that.
Do you feel as if you get to the captain's board part of it that you're already kind of open doors pretty much? Or do you feel like you still have to bring as much preparation as to the background to the captain's board?
I'd say it's a combination of both. So I would say they're not going to waste captain's time to put you in an interview just to fail you. If they don't think they're going to hire you, then you're not going to get to the captain's board. However, if you bomb the board, you're probably not going to get hired. I know with mine, with this department that I just got hired with, I think I did a lot better in my background interview, and I was a lot more nervous going into that one. And then I wasn't as nervous going into the captain's board. I was a lot more relaxed, which helped me. But some of the questions that were asked kind of threw me off of how to negotiate, how to answer it.
All right, so not to go too far back, but do you feel from when your first interview was done to your interview that you passed and got hired, do you feel that you changed? Or did it prepare you more from that first one? Do you feel more prepared from the first one to your last one? Or do you feel like the same way all the way through?
So I think my first one, it was a lot more. I would just say I was not prepared as well. Not even close to any of the other ones I had. The first one was also my first interview as a civilian. And it came a few months after I got out. So I was a little nervous going in there. I had never been in a police interview, so I didn't know what kind of questions they were going to ask. I didn't know how far back detectives would go. Mm-hmm. In my first interview, they were asking me stuff from all the way back to 4th grade. So they did research. Also probably helped them out that I grew up in that town. So a lot of information was already there for them. But this last one, I think some of the other interviews definitely helped me prepare. I would say Pawtucket. I'll just name that one because I'm not going to work there and have no intentions of that. But that interview, I think, went very well, and so did transit, which helped me out into the department that I got hired by.
All right, let's talk about a dress wise, what you wear for your background, captain's board, or even showing up at the department.
So if you're going to the department, even to sign a single piece of paper, wear a suit. and you go into an interview, wear a suit no matter what. And if you are in unfortunate circumstances, I would probably let them know, hey, I cannot afford a suit. If that is, worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But if you can afford one, or if you have one, wear it. It's pretty simple on that one.
All right, so let's talk about. So did you find out you were hired as soon as the captain's board was done? Did they wait a few days to call you? How fast did you find out that you were hired and you were going to the next step, which would be, I'm not sure, medical or whatever it was.
One of the detectives or officers from training division had asked me to walk out with him, and then he asked the board members. He was like, "Hey, do you want him to walk out? Is he good? What do you want to do?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I found out right there that I passed. They talked to me about some of the stuff in the interview. They asked me questions, and then I signed my paperwork for the academy right there. I signed my contingent offer, got that done, and then it was on to medical. So the next step would be medical, psych, and obviously getting ready for the academy.
So break down the medical part for us. So when they go to the hospital, what can they expect for test-wise and that kind of stuff?
All right. So the way they do it in Massachusetts is they break it down into 2 parts. So part 1, you're going to do a drug screening. You're going to do a smell test.
Well, put it out there. If you're on drugs, don't even bother going. If you're smoking,
even if it's legal in your state,
yeah,
because you're going to fail a drug test, and then you're going to be
disqualified. Don't go there failing a drug test. Don't waste the doctor's time. But go ahead.
So you do your drug test. You do a smell test. You do optometry.
Yeah.
You do a hearing test, and then you do a pulmonary test.
So pretty much you're going in there and doing a physical plus a little bit of eyes.
Yeah. The pulmonary test is I thought was the weirdest thing. So they give you a little tube you got to blow into. So you take a couple of deep breaths, hold it together, and then you blow it out all into one. But you have to blow it out as hard as you can, and then hold it for a time that's according to your age and your weight.
Yeah.
And so basically according to your size. It's very strange. I'm not really sure why they do that.
Yeah.
And then they do your basic physical stuff as far as like lifting your arms up, going in a circle, squatting.
So for like military veterans that are going to this career field, they're pretty much doing like a whole MEPS, a MEPS. So you're doing like a MEPS type of physical. They're gonna make you do the duck walk and make sure everything's checked out before you go to training.
I'm sure other states do it different, but this is the way Massachusetts does it, and that's can't really change that.
So say for instance that someone, I don't know, like fail their eyes or that kind of thing. Are they able to get a waiver? Is that the department policy? Is that their call if they're allowing a waiver for that, or?
So the way it works over here is so say you failed your eye test, you wear glasses. They might send you to your doctor, or they might send you to another doctor to do another eye test just to reevaluate. For me, I had open heart surgery. It's no secret. And my EKG came up abnormal, which is normal for me because of my heart. And I had to go to my primary doctor, get him to sign a letter saying that my heart was okay and I could be a police officer in the state of Massachusetts.
Okay.
And then I turned the letter in and they signed off on the physical.
So is that so far that's where your process has stopped right now? That now you're doing your next things that would be what? What's next on your list for this?
Next I have psych. So I'm going to do a pretty detailed written psych exam. So if you guys don't know, psych exam is pretty much the same questions over and over and over again. And they want to see how you answer it. And then they do a part 2 to the psych exam where you actually sit down with a doctor and they explain your exam. From what I've read in a psych exam, it's not a pass or fail.
Yeah.
It's more of, let's see where this person is mentally.
Okay. And then after that, you have
I have a PAT after that.
Okay.
So PAT in the state of Massachusetts, they do an obstacle course pretty much. It's like a 300-meter run with I think
we'll drop the link down below of the Mass PAT. There's a video online that you guys can just check it out.
And it's updated as well, so you're not looking at a video from 1980 like some of the previous ones.
I know when I did mine, it was pretty old, but I know they did an updated version of the PAT. So Alice will take the new and improved one, and probably much different than mine, but The link below will show you a little example of what's going to happen.
And then in the meantime, while I'm waiting for that, it's the fun stuff, getting the equipment for the academy.
So there's different places in the state of Massachusetts that you can buy your police stuff. I mean, everywhere is going to have the same gear. It's going to be different price range. I mean, the packing list is pretty lengthy.
I'm going to drop that in the description below. The packing list, I'm going to drop it for all 5 academies.
Okay.
Because
each academy is different stuff.
Different stuff, yeah.
So what's an estimate of what you paid for so far? Like, what you're looking at paying just to go entry-level things for policing in Massachusetts?
So it rounded up to about $2,000.
Okay, so
total.
So prepare that like before you even
have money put aside.
Yeah, take the job. I mean, I guess you should already have money put aside. You're gonna spend a lot of money, but I've always been told if you got to spend money to make money. So
exactly.
At the end of the day, it's gonna benefit you in the long run. I mean, I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Just if you are looking to go to an academy, whether it's a self-sponsor or you're getting sponsored by a department, you got any questions, drop them in the box below. And as always, make sure you hit like, comment, and subscribe.